Kim, thank you for being here. My session is going to start with the first question to you, something I've been really wanting to know. Since we're on the subject of luxury and media, and you have a dozen of us editors working for you in this space, what do you look out for when you're hiring a fashion editor?
That's a good question. You can hear me, right? It's fine, yeah? So I would say that, well, first of all, it's important for everyone to know that my company, Hearst, has been partners with India Today Group for nearly 30 years, Kalli, which is a long time. And the reason I bring that up is that it's built on commitment and trust, and we rely on our partners. We rely on you, Kalli, and Rasna, and Sakshi, and everyone in the room who works for Bazaar to really be experts in their market. I'm not from India. My company is not Indian. Feedback.
But your soul is Indian.
My soul is Indian, that is true.
Your jacket is Indian.
My jacket is Indian. My soul is, and my jewelry is Indian. But I would say that we must rely on our local partners to be experts, and I hope in turn they rely on us to be the brand experts. But the true magic comes from the dialogue and the mutual respect. So I bring that up because when I think about Rasna and the group, we have to rely on her and her expertise to choose the right people. So sure, I can tell you that a fashion editor should have vision. I could tell you that a fashion editor should be an expert of the luxury market. And of course, all of those things are true. But truthfully, I think that a fashion editor has to love the brand, know the audience, and really create and curate aspirational fashion, and should not be someone who is just editing for her circle of friends, because it's not for them, it's for you, it's for the consumer. So that would be my long and short answer.
Thank
She
you.
also has to be somebody who's very calm and can deal with all the tantrums that come with fashion divas.
Are you talking about yourself?
No, not at all.
But that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. No, it's funny that you should say that, because I do think that all the fashion editors that I have worked with over the years have been super calm, and you would think almost the antithesis of that. But they're super calm, very comfortable in their skin and their clothes, but they really do an amazing job in Harper's Bazaar. India, because I would say this too, and end with this, is that when you look at Harper's Bazaar India, it reeks India, and the audience and the attention to your cultural detail is outstanding. So bravo.
Thank you, Kim, for that. So I'm going to take off from that because Kalli mentioned fashion divas. You said it, I didn't. So my question to you is, there's a wave of celebrities as product makers now, not just product endorsers in the luxury space. Be it Deepika's 82 East, be it Kim Kardashian's Kim. I want to understand from you, given the intense media coverage that these product lines usually get, how can we as luxury media report it more mindfully and give out a fair perception of the product?
I think that being media and being journalists, you're quite good at being able to separate the celebrity from their product. And if you just review the product on its own, you're able to do that. I think you can't grudge them the extra attention they bring to their product. That's the fame they've earned. And so we can't grudge them using something they've earned, right? And I think that's okay. Life's not fair anyway, right? I think fairness is sort of overstated. It's anyway, much more of a Western concept versus India.
No.
Okay.
Life is not fair.
Yeah, life's not fair.
Life is not fair. That's
Natural
true.
order of things is not fair.
That's true. That is.
Otherwise, we would all look the same. We would all be the same height, same weight.
Oh,
we would
God,
have the
no.
same level of
Oh, it's
intelligence,
fun.
and we don't.
And there would be flies around you and not around me. I don't know what's happening up here.
You're the one with the sweet blood.
Ah, that must be
Okay,
it.
so talking about fair, unfair, let's talk about influencers. Kim, my question is to you. Influencers are seen now as media too. And when it comes to luxury buying, now their word is often outweighing that of a fashion editor's word. I want to understand from you, since fashion editors were the OG taste makers, how do we make this switch and become the OG taste makers once again?
I don't think we have to make a switch. I think that brands, editors are the original influencers, and I think that we have influenced the influencers. And the only difference is that's the mode du jour, right? Back in the day, there was no word called influencers. So when I think about media today, media in yesteryear, you'd lean back, right? You would have brands dictate to you what was going on. Today, it's absolutely lean forward. So you have social media, you have people that are giving their opinions, speaking their voice, and everyone's an influencer. So I don't think we should shift. I think we should embrace it, and I think we should do our craft in the way that we're supposed to. So influencers are great for the immediacy of what's going on, but brands are about legacy and craftsmanship and about storytelling. And I think that we learn from influencers, and I don't mean just the celebrity influencers. I mean the consumer, really. So I don't think we should switch. I think we should just kind of move ahead and embrace it and see how we can all live together in harmony.
You know, you were telling me backstage a little bit about how media needs to somewhere be 16 steps ahead of what an influencer is even thinking. Can you elaborate a little bit on that too?
Yeah, I think that we are, editors, it's their craft, right? So they're used to research. They're used to understanding what the landscape is. And I think any good editor, even though we hope to amass all of the data we can on the consumer, at the end of the day, I can only speak for myself, of course, but it's about gut. So you hope that these editors are going to be visionaries, you hope, and see if they can help instruct the future or at least add to it. So I don't know if that answered your question, really, but I do think that it's about data, but it's also about intuition and gut and taste and style and failure and all of those things.
Okay, so Kalli, that takes me to the question I have for you. What should be the major difference between a social media campaign that's created by a media house versus a social media campaign that's...
Oh, it went away.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh.
You switched it off, maybe.
Okay. What should be the major difference between a social media campaign created by an influencer versus a social media campaign that's created by a media house? And how can anchors and journalists in the luxury space report without falling into the trap of something being called frivolous? Because that often happens with short-form content.
Look, I think we're making too much of a difference between... Is it on or off?
I think it's on. Here, hold on.
It's on. Hello? No, use this. Okay. True partnership. I think there's too much difference being made between influencers and media organizations. True influencers who are now creating a voice and have followers, to a certain extent, are becoming more like media. They have their own brands. They have to follow the rules and regulations of their own brand. I mean, I think the largest difference between a media organization and an influencer is, in a media organization, it's not about a person, it's about a brand. Editors can come, editors can go, they can add a personal touch to the brand, but Harper's Bazaar framework stays Harper's Bazaar, and it has stayed so for 100 years, and that's the 157 years. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, how many influencers do you see staying more than 5 years, It's a tough business. I also think that having influencers has democratized the whole space, like it has for all of media, not just luxury, but all of media.
Do you think this has upped the game of media itself to report better, to report faster, or do you think we were always reporting better, reporting faster, and this has just added, this is for my personal consumption?
No, I think that we were always doing a better job than them because this is our business. We invented this business, right? I think the important part is that it's a lot more feedback to the people who are creating products. So designers are not now creating products for a small group of people, right? They're creating for anybody who has a phone and can comment on it. You've seen the latest memes that are going viral of the Balenciaga shoe clutch. There's somebody who does not understand fashion, but he's making a funny point, and it's viral. Now, is that good for the brand? Is it bad for the brand? It's not too bad for the brand. A lot more people are now looking at Balenciaga and saying, oh, what's this brand? What is this shoe? What is a clutch? Some people will say, okay, that's funny. Some people will say, oh, that's quite an interesting clutch. I want to see what it's like. And some people will say, he's talking rubbish. He doesn't know anything about fashion. So
talking about virality then, I'm going to, add on to this. Tell me about, when Zendaya's ring popped up during Golden Globes, that became a bigger news than Golden Globes itself. The ring started getting duplicated within a few hours. Bella Hadid made a Coach bag popular. How can media capitalize on this changing consumer behavior that is no more relying on long-form editorial critique, but is actually relying on impulse buys? Because luxury was always something you thought about.
look, we see ourselves as content creators. I don't see ourselves stuck to one platform. We are part of that process that made it viral and that led to something becoming a trend. I think the more important thing is the sort of open access to luxury and what celebrities are doing and being able to recreate it has opened up for all of us what is the definition of luxury. Is the fact that they can go and buy something which a celebrity was wearing luxury? Does luxury have to be expensive? Does it have to be exclusive?
Does it have to be expensive and exclusive? What do you think, Kim? Does luxury have to be exclusive and expensive?
It's a loaded question. I would say that yes. Yes and yes. I think it has to, I think it is exclusive. Not that it has to be. I think luxury is exclusive. I think because it's exclusive, it tends to be expensive. And I also think it's very curated. So yes, I do.
No, but it's also become more expensive. So if it was enough to have a Birkin bag, it's no longer enough to have a Birkin bag. You need to have a Birkin bag that was customized to the skin that you wanted, to the color that you wanted, with your initials. Then we're luxurious. Otherwise, oh, what's the big deal? You have a Birkin? I have a Birkin. You know, it's that kind of competitive luxury.
KP, you have a Birkin, I have a Workin.
I do not have a Birkin. I wouldn't believe in a Birkin. For me, the most important thing about luxury is it's personal. What's luxury for me may not be luxury for you.
I agree with that.
Right? Being able to sleep in my warm bed and not show up for work is luxury, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Being able to have a healthy life, have a peaceful death, those are ultimate luxuries, right? Having a bag or owning a piece of jewelry, that's not luxury.
Okay, coming back to media and luxury, Kim, I would like to know from you, social media will often give me instant feedback for my work. While with print, there is no room for getting feedback unless you get an editor's letter in your email, right? Which we all know, none of us open. But you will go through all the comments that come on your Instagram. What's your advice to a budding fashion writer to balance both these short-form content and long-form content approaches?
Well, they complement each other, right? We're fortunate that we have now evolved where there's social media, there's digital, there are a lot of different platforms. There's this platform, right? There's experiential. So you have the social and digital where it's sound bites and it's of the moment and it informs and it could go viral and it just is, it's the immediacy of that which helps, which gives way for long-form journalism where you can capture the more artisan type of work where it's about craftsmanship and legacy. But I do think that one is not exclusive of the other. They should live together. And often is the case is that if something is really going viral on social media, print editors, although I don't even call them print editors anymore, they're just editors, and they're working together, but if they see something that is going crazy, then they'll reflect on how do I put that in a monthly magazine or a bi-monthly magazine. So it's a great opportunity to really reach the consumer even more. And even this space in LuXperiences is that you've gone one step further, and now you have the consumer, not the consumer, but friends and family coming to you. So it's a 360, 480, whatever the number is. But I don't think that a fashion writer has to think in silos. We should just think how it's going to appear. Because even in Harper's Bazaar, India, you'll have this beautiful story about a jewelry story about the artist and all of the rest of that. But then you might have on social media a slideshow of all the beautiful pieces that were in your fashion show, or for us it would be the Golden Globes or something like that. So there are different reasons for different platforms, but they do live together. With the only extra comment to say, each one of those platforms should have the same voice, should have the same ideal, have the same DNA of the proper brand.
So I want to differ a little bit, or agree as well at the same time. I think that as a fashion writer, you have to see, are you somebody who can translate platforms? Synergy has always been a very big word in our organization, and it's something we have worked with for, 20 years. And we have found that you can have something called over synergy. Everyone doesn't have the ability to do writing, social media, television. But then you will have those people who are like commandos, who can do all of it, and they can go live from an event, and they can anchor an event, and they can do all of those things. So I think a writer or an editor or any person in their job should actually find what they're good at and then see, okay, can I do all the different platforms? And if you can, please do them. And if you can't, then just do what you do really well. And so we have a mix of those. You know, some of the editors and writers in our organization can do all the platforms, and some can't. It's just like communication. Some people are so good with everyone.
No, that's true.
Right?
Of course, that's
and
true.
some people are just good with smaller groups. So
no, it's about being an expert of your craft, and you're right. If you can't do all of them, and you only have 2 eyeballs, but you should hone your skills. But you should be, I guess, you have to master adaptability. You just need to adapt and pivot, and really kind of be secure to know what you're good at, and be really secure about what you're not good at. And then just welcome your friends and family, your colleagues I'm speaking about, to help that journey. But it's what you're
and
saying.
in the end, fashion is about change.
It is.
So you have to be able to adapt and be flexible and be nimble.
Yeah.
So talking about change and adaptability, Kim, I'm going to end this session with one important question that I have for you. Is the whole of last year, so fashion editors have always been famous for not eating. Yeah, we eat a piece of cheese cube and call it a night on so many nights. And interestingly, the whole of last year, one of the things I saw in fashion luxury reporting is every luxury brand collaborated with a food brand, be it Erewhon and Balenciaga, or be it Marc Jacobs and Nara Smith. I want to know from you, how has fashion become friends with food?
Well, I think fashion has always been a friend of food. I get your point. But I think of it being gastronomic, right? And when we're talking about luxury and exclusivity, food is the height of sensory. And when I think about Harper's Bazaar, and I wish I could remember exactly the tagline, but the tagline was, back in 157 years ago, Harper's Bazaar is a repository of fashion, pleasure, and instruction. Of course, that doesn't translate now. But if you think about that, Harper's Bazaar is a fashionable life. And it's not just about fashion. We're not really just a fashion magazine. We're a lifestyle magazine that fashion to fashion as it relates to beauty, as it relates to travel, as it relates to experience. So I think food and fashion is a perfect fit and a perfect alliteration as well. So I think it's good.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kalli. Thank you very much, audience.